My name is Chris Miller, and my company is Enso. That's ENSO, and it's a content management system that allows people to build and manage websites very quickly and easily. Being a two-person company, I live in Portland, and my co-founder Nick lives in Denver, Colorado. And we, for the year prior to me moving out here, we actually, in order to save money and continue funding everything, we closed down our office and we decided to work virtual. And that was great because we had that sort of year-long, if we needed to, we could get together. But for the most part, we work via Skype. We're constantly in IMing with each other, and then if we need to actually talk, we rarely actually use the video. There's no real need to see each other, but we do sometimes share screens. But basically, we use Skype for IM and phone calls, and obviously email if we need to send something bigger back and forth. And that's our primary communication method, and it's worked out wonderfully. I mean, we're in as much communication as you can be without literally being in the same room. And yeah, it just hasn't presented a problem, and we both actually have really grown to like working in our houses. I mean, my commute literally is down the hall from my bedroom, into my office, and so it's wonderful not having to drive someplace and drive back. When I had an office in downtown Denver, 2 blocks from the ballpark, lower downtown area is what it's called. It was beautiful. I mean, gorgeous loft that we had. Not very startup-y, a little too much money, but I drove 80 miles round trip, like 40 miles to work and 40 miles back. That was horrible, So I love the concept of working here. Plus, if I just kind of want to change it up, I just go to a coffee shop and I go work someplace there, as long as I don't have too much interaction where I need phone calls and stuff like that. Espresso machines are really loud, as I'm sure you guys know. So, yeah. So, Enso means circle in Japanese, and it's a Zen Buddhist concept of enlightenment, and we wanted something that basically explained that it's kind of like there's a framework wrapped around this, but there's also the fluidity to it, and that you can do whatever you want. Because one of the big challenges with the most content management systems is the web designer really kind of feels like he's fixed within sort of some boxes that somebody else arbitrarily set. And so with our content management system, the web designer actually doesn't have any constraints. He just basically builds his HTML, his CSS, and then he adds our tags into it, and those tags just simply overlay the design. And so it was kind of a concept of just sort of like there's a framework, but it's such an underlying transparent framework that it doesn't get in your way. I think like any small business or startup, the hurdles are all the same initially at first. It's survival. And I originally started a company, a web design studio called Havoc Labs about 11 years ago, and have survived for 11 years. And some of the technology that has come out of Havoc Labs is Enso. So we decided to spin it off as a new company. So we've taken sort of a more mature company that was doing professional services, and we're trying to really sort of transition ourselves into doing more of a product-based SaaS offering, software as a service, and basically taking ourselves back down to zero, where starting a new company, and even with the help of an existing company and existing customers that are already on board and love it, it's still a challenge. I mean, it's one of the toughest things. So it's sort of like starting over. But I've always had sort of an entrepreneurial spirit about myself, and kind of looked at these things in that manner. So I kind of I don't have a problem with that so much. It's kind of fun being part of a startup, and I'm sure this is just one of many startups that I'll have during my lifetime. Yeah, so that bootstrapping scenario is tough because you get free money from one of your from your company. My company, Havoc Labs, that's helping us start up, but yet you don't really get to walk away from your duties that you already have for that existing customer base. So sort of that juggling act of working on the startup and working on the existing business, and we're a two-person company, so that's a challenge to actually like manage our time effectively and actually get out there. So when as I was joking around about VC capital, actually I think that's where that could actually make a huge impact, because it really forces you to sort of be all in on that one business that you're up and running and be totally focused on it versus having split. But if you can't and you have a consulting gig or a company that can actually help you make that transition, that's better than not. So. The short answer to that is basically other entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs that have had exits and that have built successful companies, but even other entrepreneurs that are still in the midst of actually building their companies. There's something about entrepreneurs that just really gives you that they just know what you're going through that other people don't. Like I can talk to my friends who are very high level in what they do and very smart people. I can talk to friends and family, but unless you're kind of in it from an entrepreneurial standpoint and know what that's like, then it's a little difficult. So I get a lot of great information from other entrepreneurs, and like I was saying earlier, basically I relocated here from Boulder and just in December, and the entrepreneurial community here is amazing. I love it. It's at the beginning stages. You can kind of tell. It seems like it's kind of a new thing, because even the people that have been here a long time seem like it's relatively new and sort of starting to flourish. And I like kind of being in it at that ground level. Sometimes, like in Boulder, it's a very entrepreneurial community and there's a lot of help out there, but it also feels a little entrenched sometimes, and so it's a little hard to like sort of break through and find the right people that are going to have some time and can give you some offering, give you some help on whatever you need. And so, yeah, it's been other entrepreneurs for the most part. I started recently, and this kind of goes back to like, startups helping startups and everything like that. I work with two other guys. They're both web designers, and we meet once a week and we actually co-work someplace together. But the first part of the day is usually talking through and actually setting goals and keeping each other accountable for where we are with those goals for that week, and we share problems, and we end up sharing a ton of knowledge. Like it's crazy, because you kind of sometimes sit in this cocoon and you just assume, well, everybody knows what I know. I mean, I read it on the internet, so it's got to be out there. But then when you realize it and you get out there and you start talking to other entrepreneurs, they know a lot about their thing, you know a lot about your thing, and if you can actually kind of cross-mogenate and share that information, you find out that, wow, I have a lot that I can offer other people, no matter who you are in the spectrum of startups. And I found that to be really cool. So that weekly session of working with those guys, and we just pick a different coffee shop, sometimes it's a restaurant, and we just go there and we work for the whole day. But that morning session of just sort of sharing information back and forth is huge, and it's what I miss from going to an office. That's the one thing I do miss about the office, is that we used to have our weekly meetings and kind of everybody getting around and sharing information, talking, a little camaraderie and stuff like that. So I have to sort of like manufacture that, but it's always in a different spot, and it's with whoever wants to show up to this little group. So pretty cool. Launch. I think after I get done with this, I'll be able to write a book called Getting to Launch, because it is the hardest thing in the world to do. I mean, again, going back to like talking to other entrepreneurs, I was talking to the guys over at PHP Fog, and it was like, how'd you guys get to launch? And they're like, cut, like that's their advice. And so I think that's true, but there's a certain point where I really just want to have a product that's like great, and you know, obviously room to get better, it can always get better, but I also need to launch. So it's kind of like weighing those two things and saying, you know, the quicker we can get to launch and start getting this into people's hands, and then iterating it based on that feedback, the better. But yet, you know, I need some fundamental things to come together. So we're close. We're about 2 weeks out. Hopefully, by the time this thing goes live, we will be launched. And I mean, not hopefully. I think we will be. So God, I need to really commit to that. But yeah, so launch. That's the abyss, and it could be the. We're so excited because we want to get this in the hands of everybody and see how it comes together, and so that's it. What inspires me the most is not having to ever work another real job again. This is very much a real job in the sense that, you know, there's very real consequences if I fail, and that's just not an option. But I learned a long time ago that I'm not really a corporate guy. I can't really toe the corporate line. I'm not really good with, you know, the internal politics and everything like that. And I never really wanted to be. I really thought if I decided that it was something I wanted to do, I'd be great at it. But I just didn't like the culture surrounding it. I love the culture of small companies and startups in particular, and I just really never want to go back to working in a super corporate culture. Now, Google calls when they want to buy us. I will go work there for a small period of time, but like a lot of entrepreneurs, they usually, after their lockup period, they end up going on and doing something else and probably founding another company. So I can definitely see that, and I've matured since my original days of working in the corporate culture. But yeah, just really not having to sort of set my own terms for my own life and do what I want to do is really my ideal goal, and that includes starting companies. You know, I think this kind of goes back to the earlier question, and like, who's my best resource, and it's other entrepreneurs again. I like the guys that are in the weeds trying to build something from nothing, and just the sort of the personality or the DNA that person must have to do that. Not a lot of people just, they have an idea and they someday would love to actually, like, you know, have a company. They don't really have, like, for some reason, something that's going to allow them to tolerate that much risk in their personal lives, or you know, actually do it. And so the entrepreneur and other startups are people I take the most inspiration from. And it's not just the people that have had huge exits and have, you know, built Facebook and stuff like that. It's the little guy that they're building real value with real products that people really want to use, and them, you know, modest to big exits, doesn't matter if they build a lifestyle business. I'm still hugely inspired by them. There's a local guy, Jason Glaspie, and he has his company, and he's actually purposely keeping it small as a lifestyle business, and he's talked about that, and I like that notion of being able to, like I said, build something from nothing. But I really just get inspiration from those people. And with the economy the way it is now, I think, and you know, the economy rebounding but jobs not, I think more people are going to have to actually figure out this entrepreneurial thing and actually try to, you know, attempt to do something, because I don't see where the jobs necessarily are going to get added back in.